This is the most accessible way to get into Charles Rennie Mackintosh in Glasgow.
The perception outside is that the Willow Tearooms is quite posh until they actually start to come to it.
This didn't really become a visitor attraction, I don't think, till about 1987 when we had the Garden Festival in Glasgow. And we just thought, well, yeah, Garden Festival down at the Clyde. But then we got visitors every morning, right through the whole day, and that's when we realised this was a place to come and see. It was like a living museum.
She was creating a whole sort of social experience. She was wanting to get people out of the pubs and the gin houses and into a more civilised setting.
People from Glasgow still think that it's the ladies with the hats and the, you know, the fur coats and stuff like that. They think that it's the posh ladies. They don't realise now how popular it is.
For me, having worked at the Glasgow School of Art, I feel so fortunate to have come from one building which is considered to be his masterwork to this, which is very different but again very beautiful. Her brother was a tea merchant, Kate Cranston, and so she was very familiar with the tea business in Glasgow. She'd been brought up with parents who were hoteliers. They had hotels in George Square. So she was constantly, from a little girl, surrounded in the sort of service industry, if you like. She knew what customers wanted and she knew how to manage their expectation. And I think that she saw in Charles Rennie Mackintosh the perfect person to create the interiors that she envisioned. Miss Cranston commissioned Charles Rennie Mackintosh to remodel the exterior of this building, which was originally a Victorian terrace building, and also create the interiors. So from the street, visitors would enter through a light tea room on the ground floor, and there was a darker area at the back with a beautiful fireplace. And they would then come upstairs to this area here where, you know, you could have breakfast, lunch or afternoon tea. There was a very special room, or there is a very special room on the next level, and it's known as the Room Deluxe. And that was for the ladies at lunch, ladies with lovely hats and fur coats, and they had to pay an extra penny for the privilege of having their tea in that room. Not anymore, it's the same menu here as it is upstairs today.
We've kind of stepped back slightly to make it from Old Scots. You know, we do the Cullen skink soup, which is a Scottish smoked haddock soup, and we do things like an Arbroath smoky. We've got a St Andrew's platter, which is smoked trout, smoked salmon and fish from Scotland. So people, when they come here, they want to have real Scottish food. They want the loose leaf tea. We have a Scottish breakfast tea. We do a Mackintosh tea. We're just going to launch a Mackintosh signature tea later on, just before the summer. So we're always looking back to see, there's letters from Charles Rennie Mackintosh to his wife Margaret MacDonald, and in this there was a quote about her liking a Pico tea, so we're trying to investigate that just now.
He was very, very handsome, and he loved the look of the artist, and you know, if you see the very famous photograph of him with the big sort of loose bow, he wanted to be perceived as an artist. He posed for that shot. One of the famous Glasgow photographers, Annan, who was associated with the Glasgow Boys, photographed him like that. He wanted to be like that. He was trained as an architect, but he wanted to be known as the artist. Taking care of the detail. In the Room Deluxe, everything is just perfect. The colours are serene. He uses a repeat pattern throughout, which for the visitor to that room is actually very soothing. Everything's taken care of. You just have to think about what you're going to eat and drink. So it's a lovely experience.
We probably get about 75 to 80,000 visitors a year. During the quieter times, it is the locals, and you know, we do have regular customers that come in every single day, or someone who comes in once a week. Easter changes that for us. Then we have the tourists coming from all over the world, and this one tea room during the month of August has about 10,000 people coming through the door.
We get lots and lots and lots of young students coming in groups. We get universities who book whole weeks of different groups per day to bring them to the Willow Tearooms and show them that. We get Americans, we get French, we get Italian, Spanish, who work in the tea room. So that's different cultures as well, and it's fabulous.
And visitors do come and they go on a Mackintosh trail. It's almost a pilgrimage. So if this is where they come first for a cup of tea, they can also go up to the art school, which is about 4 or 5 minute walk. There's the university, which has got the major collection of Mackintosh in Glasgow and possibly in the world. I need to check that. But you know, there are so many fabulous places. You hop in the underground, it takes you to Scotland Street School, which is just a treasure of a school. So there's, you know, it is a real, Mackintosh is a destination in Glasgow, and this is an easy way to experience it.